Hello friends, and welcome back to our little coffee club. Today's goal is to finally get around to doing a comparison of the two most unlikely grinders that you can pair up against each other, let's say. We're gonna compare the Pietro grinder with the Pro burrs. Lance Hedrick helped design the burrs that are inside of here. And the whole idea behind it was to get it to produce the most clarity and the most flavor separation as possible. In my understanding, that was the goal. And supposedly, this is a grinder that is known for that, and perhaps one of the best ones in the world at that, okay? At producing a very clear cup with the most flavor separation. So the Niche Zero is one of the grinders that produces the most amount of fines, and it produces a very blended and gooey type of shot of espresso. But you can also use it for filter coffee, and that's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna make filter coffee. I'm also gonna make espresso today. For sure, today we're making espresso. We're gonna make a cortado, so stick around till the end for that. Oh, something else I wanna include at the end, I just wanna mention it in case you wanna see that. When we visited the Netherlands and Amsterdam and all of that, I went to a supermarket and recorded a couple of clips there that, you know, I've been forgetting to include in any of the videos. So today at the end, I'll throw that in case you want to see what I got up to there at on the supermarket in the Netherlands. Well, stick around to the end and you'll see that. Oh, something else before I proceed that I want to mention is that this is the second time I'm going to talk about this, but there's been a couple of people that have reached out about comments not getting posted or disappearing from my channel or something like that. I told you guys that I have nothing to do with that. I don't know if there's some kind of filter, something happens that is done automatically by YouTube, not me. So I don't know. If you ever see that I don't respond to your comment, it's probably because I didn't see it for whatever reason. As a matter of fact, in the situation that I had, or several situations that I've had in regards to that with Carrie, the comments were visible to Carrie, but not to me. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that, but it happens every now and then. So either leave another comment or reach out on Instagram. At the end of every video, my Instagram pops up. Send me a DM. I answer everyone. Okay, I want you to be a part of this channel. I want you to participate. So, you know, drop in, say hello. I will answer you. And if for some reason you don't see an answer from me, it's again one of those disappearing comments, or who knows, reach out on Instagram. I answer everybody. All right, before we move on to the comparison, and again, the most unlikely pairing that's out there, so the Niche Zero with a very blended type of coffee that it makes, which I think is delicious, but to each their own. And the Pietro, which is a very clear kind of cup of coffee that you're gonna get, or this doesn't even make espresso, so it would just be filter coffee. Will I taste the difference? That's all we're looking for. It's just a difference. Can I taste some kind of meaningful difference, okay, that cannot be attributed to placebo or to perhaps the way the water just flowed the one particular time through the bed of coffee, or maybe to fluctuations in water temperature or other things that can cause a minute difference. Even the Hana beans that you pick out of the bag. Do you think that all the beans in the bag taste exactly the same? No, there could be some differences. So therefore, your result in the cup could be slightly different. So this has to be like a meaningful kind of difference that you can attribute to placebo or something else. We'll see. I have compared all my other grinders before in the past. I've never been able to taste a clear difference in grinders. So if I can't taste it between these two, we're gonna forget about this and move forward, and I don't know. So I'm hoping that I will taste a difference, but I won't lie to you, and I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, okay? You're gonna listen, this YouTube channel is coming to you from the eyes of an average consumer, somebody just like a guy that takes coffee seriously, but it's just a hobby. It's not, it's not like my livelihood. My life doesn't revolve around coffee. Well, it kind of does, but not work-wise, okay? I work a regular job, a regular dude out there. So you're getting this from the point of view of your average consumer, not an expert, okay? I'm not James Hoffman or Lance. These guys are in a different level. So, but sometimes, you know, sometimes their take on something might not be like what you're gonna see. It's not like an average guy. It's an average person and I shouldn't consider myself just like average, because I've been doing this for like 6-7 years. You have seen me evolve, right? Or make progress into tasting coffee and what I can see in the cup and all of that. So I have made a lot of progress. So yeah, I shouldn't say just the average consumer, but a hobbyist, just like you. Will I taste a difference? So we'll see. We're gonna brew the filter coffee. I'm gonna use this. It's dialed in to get the same timing, or roughly the same timing, from both grinders. So I dialed it to timing, although the flavor was fine from both. I haven't brewed them side by side. I don't know if there's a difference. They both tasted good to me. And it should brew for just under 3 minutes. So maybe like 250. We're gonna do my 12 grams to, this one is a 1 to 16. It's gonna be a 1 to 16. So 12 grams in, 192 grams out. And my usual 3-pour method with the origami and all that stuff. So we'll get into it in a second. Then at the end, I want to make some espresso and make a cortado. So I want to report back as to this coffee. Was this last week? Yeah, this was last week. I reviewed this coffee from Good Brothers. It's a Kenya. You know that the coffee's from Kenya is the origin of the year for me. It's just all the best coffee. I shouldn't say all the best coffee, but other than the Coco Bongo, this which I think is my coffee of the year just because it was so different. Yes, I know it's a co-ferment. Maybe it's not fair. I don't know. It's just memorable. I'm going to always remember the Coco Bongo because it was just remarkable. It was remarkable. Okay, so the Coco Bongo is from DAC and it's not a Kenyan. So besides that, the Kenyan coffees have been the best that I've had this year. I had one from Hinterhoff, a roaster in Louisville, Kentucky. I brought it back from when I visited there. And then I had a Kenyan from Fried Hats, which I brought back from Amsterdam. Both were, well, they tasted very, very similar. I gave a slight edge to the one from Fried Hats, but it was kind of like a wash. It's pretty much, it was a tie, okay? It was pretty much a tie. It just it depends, but it was pretty much a tie. And then this one. This here has nothing to do with those other Kenyans. This is totally different. It doesn't taste the same. It's just, this coffee is, I don't know how to put this. You know, way back in the videos, I ordered some coffee. I think it was from where Bali is, Indonesia. I hope I have the right country. Okay, Indonesia. And this coffee, I always called it was very hard to dial in, the same like this one. It was a smack in the face, is what I always said. It was loud. And that's one of the descriptors in this coffee. It's perfect, okay? It's the most perfect descriptor ever. It's loud. It's a punch, it's a smack in the mouth. And it was, I don't know how else to describe it. I've had another coffee like that. It was I believe it was a Colombian. It was also a Good Brothers coffee. It was, I can't remember the name of it, but it's the same thing. But that one was different in the sense that one was very citrus forward. But it was like a grapefruit. It was very strong. It was a smack in the face. I can't say this is citrusy, but it's the high level of acidity of this is unbelievable. Okay, and I haven't been able to tame the beast. And yeah, like a smack in the face. Nothing like the other Kenyans. The other Kenyans were very fruity, very balanced, a lot of sweetness with just a perfect amount of upfront acidity. They worked perfectly for both espresso or filter coffee, and it was just wonderful. This coffee is a smack in the face. That's what I'm gonna say. And loud. That's the perfect descriptor. A lot of acidity. You want to try something with a lot of acidity? You tell me, order it. You know, Good Brothers is top notch. The best service in town. Just order it. Order it, try it. Let me know if you were able to tame the beast. That's all I'm going to say. Oh, here's another thing before we proceed. And by now, if somebody tuned into my channel to see the comparison, which I mean, unless who wants to see this versus the niche zero? I don't, but there'll be a few people. But by now they got totally triggered and they're gone. It's just us, guys. It's just us now. but all right, so to let you guys know, and again, this could just be my OCD. That's what you call it, right? Okay, my OCD. First of all, I thought that, you know, the numbers were 10 clicks apart. You would think, right? The one is 10 clicks, the two is 20 clicks. It makes a lot of sense. Well, it's not. It seems like, how many is it? I think 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but it's not even 5. It's like some weird thing, like 4 3/4 or something, and then I don't know, or like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know. It's about 5. Okay, it's about 5 clicks. Maybe it is 5 clicks and the dial is just a little off. I don't know, but it seems to be 5 clicks instead of 10. Why you do that? I don't know. Another thing is, when you go to 0, yes, it's right at 0. Okay, so that makes sense. But when you go all the way around and you cannot keep going around, I thought you could. You know, I said before, yeah, you could probably keep going around. No, you can't. You could just go once. So this is as coarse as you could go, but it doesn't end up in the 0 again. It just is like 3 clicks away or something, 3 little. Come on, man. Like, this doesn't bother anybody, but it's just things that are a little bit annoying. Like, you took the time to develop this thing. Again, my Italian brothers and sisters, man, I love you guys. But again, there's some aspects of this grinder that are just like bizarre. But I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. What matters is the flavor. Let's try to compare this thing. This rant has gone on for way too long already. So remember, stick around to the end. I'll try to include the thing about the restaurant. I'm sorry, the supermarket. There's always a chance I could forget. So if the video just ends, I'm sorry. I'll try to remember another time. But I get all these clips and then I edit, and then by the end of that, I forgot to include. Yeah, it happens. I'll try to remember to include the stuff about the supermarket. What else? Yeah, the cinematic that you're gonna see is probably from what I shot the other day with kind of the same setup, but not the same setup. But I already filmed all of that. I'm not gonna take the time, especially this clip has gone on for way too long already. So what else? I told you about the disappearing comments. I have no clue why that's happening. Oh, one last detail about that. So recently, I was having a conversation with one of you guys. I didn't know it was Anton because he had changed the little icon that some people don't have an icon. They just have like nothing, like it's just like a letter or something. YouTube picks it if you don't pick something. But Anton had always like a little green lizard, like the eye of this little green lizard. So all of a sudden it's something else, and I don't know who this person is, and it didn't say Anton. That's another thing. Maybe it's the way you log on to your YouTube. I don't know. Maybe if you do your laptop or your TV or your phone, it's different. I don't know. But all I know is that it didn't say Anton and it wasn't the little green lizard. So I'm talking to this person back and forth, and after a while I said, oh, where are you watching from? And they put, I think, Cologne. And I'm like, what, Germany? And then after that, I didn't even wait for, oh no, he comes back, he says, yes, Germany. And then I was like, oh man, this gotta be Anton. Like, who else? I'm not gonna have 2 viewers from there. Like, what are the odds? So then I'm like, is this Anton? But yeah, anyway, the point of that rant is that if you change your little icon, let me know it's you, because I won't know. And sometimes the name changes. Maybe it's because the way you log on to your YouTube. I don't know that either. But hey, again, I'm just some dude. Let's take it over to the other counter and brew some coffee.
Stand by you when you're falling, when the river is calling. I said I love you forever. We can make it together. What goes up must come down.
Okay, so I have everything set up, and what should we talk about first? Let me point out the fact that in order for me to get the brew time that I'm looking for, I need to go quite coarse on the Pietro. I'm almost all the way to the last click. I mean, I only have like maybe 3 or 4 clicks from the coarsest that you can go on this grinder, which is not something I wish I had more range to play with. But of course I have other grinders, so I could always grind on the Duo if I want to go coarser and whatnot. But if you get to a point where you're grinding as coarse as you can go, and it's still not giving you the timing you want on a particular coffee, which I could see this easily happening, and maybe it's not a thing, maybe it will never happen. Maybe this is as coarse as I'll ever go. I don't know. But your options would be to go to a faster brewer. I'm already using an Origami, which is quite fast. But there are faster brewers. You can go to a faster brewer, or you would have to go to faster paper, right? Like Civeres or something like that. As a matter of fact, I don't know if by now you saw my comparison of the papers. There's a video that turned out to be a total fail. I'm gonna revisit that and try the Civeres, and we'll do a paper kind of test to see how the difference in speed between the papers. So same grind size, but really looking at the difference in speed. I want to point out a couple of other things that you guys pointed out. Okay, so the grind size on the Pietro, we're gonna be pretty much as coarse as you could go. On the niche zero, okay, on the niche zero, you could see it there, I'm past the 50, but you can just keep going around. So it doesn't seem like it because of the way I have the angle. Let's see if I can get the right angle. You see how the marker is right in between the red safety switch and the 50. So I'm just past 50. That's not ideal. You kind of want to, so that you could replicate your setting. Ideally, you would want numbers to keep going, but the niche zero only goes to 50. I have gone past it, like you see here now. I'm just beyond 50. And you could use other things back here, right? Like I used the little red dot. Well, right now the little thing is pressing it. Okay, hold on. I'm using the little red dot as a marker, and I know I'm halfway between the 50 and the red dot, and that gives you kind of an idea to kind of replicate your settings. Not ideal. It's not ideal, but rarely do you have to go this coarse. But that's what this coffee required, and it took me quite a while to kind of dial in where I was getting like a really good flavor of the coffee on the same grinders with the same timing, if that makes sense. So if I would have been dialing alone only on flavor, maybe I would have had a different setting on the niche zero, and I would have had a different setting on the Pietro, but I was trying to equal both, where I'm getting a really good flavor and the same timing from both grinders. And this is what ended up being. I used a lot of the coffee but still I enjoyed it. I enjoyed every cup. Let me put the phone back, hold on. All right, I had to move a couple of things back there in order to give you the view of the niche zero, because that, when you're dialing for espresso, is perfect because the numbers I'm using are right in front of me. And the Duo is perfect because the numbers I'm using are right in front of me. But when I want to do filtered on this one or espresso on this one, then things, I would have to swap the grinders so that I could see the numbers easily. But so yeah, I showed you where I'm at with both grinders. This is where I'm getting a great flavor from the coffee, but I'm still getting the same timing. So I want to compare apples to apples, same timing, because if the timing is different, then, I think that's more meaningful than bursts. You can, if you brew a coffee and it takes you 8 minutes to brew it, and 2 minutes, they're gonna taste drastically different. Even filter coffee. Filter coffee, you don't have to be so precise, but still, you wanna keep it somewhat the same. So that's why. So we have same water temperature, same timing, same filters, same brewer, same everything. I wanna point out 2 other things before I move on from that. And is that you guys pointed out, and rightfully so, let me refocus. Rightfully so, that if I want to get to tasting right away and I don't want the coffee to be super hot, I should brew into a carafe and then put it over to some kind of cups. You guys know the cups I like drinking filter coffee from. It's not my shot glasses, from my Crew shot glasses, but one of you, Carrie, pointed out that if I'm using what do they call them? The Sense or the glasses I usually use from Crew to drink filter coffee, they are different. And they are supposed to give you kind of like a different tasting experience from the two cups. Am I fully on board with that? Perhaps not, but it is a valid point. I should use the same cups. So today I will brew into, and this is, by the way, this one's not a carafe. This is my mixing vessel that I use for when I make cocktails. You guys have seen it in a couple of videos. It's not ideal for coffee because it gets hot. This one doesn't because it has a dual wall. That one is for coffee, but it's the best I could do. So I'm gonna brew into both of those so then I can pour into the cold shot glasses and get to tasting right away and make it as fair as possible. I'm just trying to give this the best fairness possible to see if I can taste a difference in these two grinders. If I can't taste between these two, the most unlikely pairing that you could possibly do, then I'm probably never gonna taste the difference. So, all right, let me set it back up and then we're gonna get to brewing. I'm gonna, well, actually we have to grind and all that, so hold on. Okay, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. So we have to do the grinding. Here's the coffee we're gonna be using. I showed you guys the Rwanda from Gardelli. This was a great, great coffee. It's right up there with the Kenyan coffees. As a matter of fact, the taste profile of this coffee, I would say, is very similar to the Kenyans. Then this coffee was just delicious. Great experience with this one. I've enjoyed every cup from this coffee. And it makes great espresso too. This is great for espresso and also equally great for filtered. The other one that I picked up from them, I enjoyed more as filter coffee than espresso. It still makes good both, both are really good, but the other one is very citrus forward and this is not. This is very fruity. I'm gonna do 12 grams. Okay, perfect, 12 grams. Okay, so we have 12 grams in. We're gonna get 192 grams out, so 1 to 16. Let's see if we get any retention from the niche zero. Okay, once again, I'm gonna show you the roast profile of this coffee, but it's medium light. Maybe a little bit closer to medium than to light, but yeah, delicious coffee. Let's grind this. Grams in that course of a setting goes by pretty quickly. Tap the spout, see if we have our 12 grams. Let's see, 11.8. Okay, do I want to do bellows? I'm not gonna do bellows. I don't want to pick up any extra fines than I need to. And you don't have to. This is an option. If you have a niche zero, you don't need to do bellows, or you could just put a little bit more coffee. There's nothing wrong with that. Nobody's gonna, if I have to adjust with the spoon, I will. So I have another 3 or 4 beans here. It's not gonna take much. It's a 0.2. Normally I wouldn't care for 0.1, 0.2, whatever, but here we're trying to be as accurate as possible and as fair as possible. Okay, now I know I'm gonna be over, but we'll adjust with the little spoon. Okay, so you saw now we're at 12.5 and we were missing a 0.2. So now we're over by a whole bunch. So let me adjust it to exactly 12 grams. So you gotta get out 0.5 gram. Okay, there you see it, 12 grams exactly. Gonna roll with that. Now again, if you do bellows, you're gonna get extra fines out that you don't really need to do that. So this is something that's available to everybody with a niche zero. I'm not doing anything weird or, you go ahead, do the same thing if you want. So, okay, so I got 12 grams, exactly. There's nothing unfair about that process. As a matter of fact, I will do the same thing for the Pietro. If there's anything missing, or I will, I'm not gonna start banging on it too much or blowing air in there or anything like that. I'll keep it as fair as possible. Okay, so here we go, 12 grams. Okay, 12 exactly. Okay, let me make sure this is focused properly before I keep going here. So, yeah, so we have exactly 12 grams. Retention on hand grinders is not really like a thing, but I guess maybe we have seen here on the channel where there's times when there's a little bit, but for the most part, it's not really a thing, retention on hand grinders. And the Pietro, it pretty much never has retention, but we'll see. We were exactly at 12 grams. We'll see what we get out. When you grind in the way that I'm holding it, it's kind of like slow feeding. Takes a little bit longer. Tap this, make sure it doesn't time out on me. You have to tap it a couple times, make sure all the beans are going through. Okay, there we go. We have everything. Do we have 12 grams? 11.9. Let's do one more bean. That should take care of it. I want to be as accurate as possible. I mean, normally on a regular brew session, I don't worry about these things, but today for you guys, I will drop one more bean in there. I imagine we got it. I imagine we got it. Hard to say with just one bean, but something went through. Now we're a little over. So we got we got the one bean and then a little bit more of the other one. All right, 12 grams. So we have exactly 12 grams. We were as accurate as possible. Okay, so let me put this off to the side. Clean up my work area a little bit. What was I gonna tell you guys? I was about to say something. Oh, one thing is that you will notice, like I said, I haven't brewed the two grinders like this side by side, but you will notice, one thing I have noticed is that there is a clear difference in the grinds and what you get at the end. So the bed at the end, you will see that it's very clear difference between what you're gonna see on the Pietro and what you're gonna see on from the niche zero. From the testing I've been doing, going back and forth between the two grinders, dialing in and testing this whole thing out so I could do this comparison for you guys. Okay, I have noticed like the little bit of difference, but because it's, you know, between one day and another, it's hard to say. It could be placebo, it could be whatever. Today's the real test. Today I'll really be able to see if there's a difference here. Can I taste it? Is it meaningful? All that kind of stuff. So hang on. We'll get to it in a second. Okay, my next step is gonna be to set up these brewers in a way that you could see the pouring and all that stuff. So that's gonna take me a couple minutes here. I'm gonna have to shuffle things around. So give me a second, that's the next step. Okay, so I have the two angles going. This to me is not something that I normally do like this because I don't like having the overhead lights on. I lose my ambience that I like and all that kind of stuff. But you know, I do want you guys to see very well what's going on here, and this is the only way that I could make it happen. Another thing I don't like is that you can see the tripod behind the brewers, which is not ideal, and I don't like that at all, but it's the only way I can do both like this side by side, like is just the only way I could figure it out. I've done other setups that I have not liked either, so I haven't found a way that I really like doing this, but all right, we're gonna go with this setup. First thing I gotta do here is just start to rinse the paper and heat up the brewer a little bit. Again, this is a step that is not like 100%, you know, you don't really probably need to do it, but I don't mind it. I like the workflow. And if it's something that you're enjoying, then by all means, go for it. You know, I always say that, you know, if you're enjoying the process, you know, do it. Okay, let's rinse the other one. Maybe for experiments of this nature, I might have to get another carafe, some other kind of coffee carafe, because this is not ideal. This thing gets, it gets hot, but again, I want to rinse everything. So, okay, so let me get the water out of this thing. The Akaya is a little bit small for doing this, you know, filter coffee. I enjoy this scale a lot more for this kind of thing because obviously you got so much more room and everything, but you know, again, I only have one of those big ones. Okay, I have both of my brewers set up. So, okay, here's another thing that I normally don't care too much about is how hard do I pour? I kind of, you know, I don't pay too much attention to that. Today, I'm gonna have to. For me to be at 3 minutes or below, I have to be extremely gentle with the pouring, or you stir up the ground so much that the fines travel and clog up the filter somewhat, and the timing will be off. I have to, the pouring, if I have to be very gentle with the pouring, let's just say. I even thought about maybe using the dispersion screen from the Tricklet, which I do have one, and I could have used it like a mellow drip, but no, I think we can manage. I just have to be extremely careful with how hard I pour into the coffee bed. Okay, so let's get the one in here from the niche. So the niche is over here on the orange one. I'm gonna refocus in a second, so maybe you get a better look at what the grounds look like. And this is from the Pietro. Okay, I have my 12 grams there. Okay, from the look of it, I would say that the Niche Zero is finer than the Pietro. Or there's just more fines, so it looks finer. And I think that's the case. I think that's what happens. I think the coarseness is kind of equal, but the distribution of the grinds is noticeably different. And therefore, it just looks finer from the Zero because you just have more fines. Okay, I'm pretty sure, but I could be wrong. You know, I don't have a particle analyzer to run this through and see what it is, but I'm going with that. I'm going with that. We'll see. Okay, what matters here is the timing. Let me refocus. Okay, I like the way it became a little bit brighter. You should be able to see better. I just refocused on the white brewer, which that's from the Pietro, and this is the Niche Zero. Refocus on the other side. Maybe you can see a little bit better now. That's the Niche Zero, or maybe I can zoom in with the software later and give you a close-up of that. But yeah, so that's what they look like. That's what they look like. Let's move on. See, make sure everything's running fine here. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna have to pause. Give me 1 second. All right, so I think I gave you guys a good look and we are ready to commence. Okay, I'm double checking my water temperature, getting the kettle up to 97. That's gonna be our temperature, 97, so just off boiling. And I have both cameras going here. Okay, I'm gonna start them. Okay, there we go. Now, I'm going to start with the Pietro, and I'm gonna do 2 pours before I start with this one. Reason is because the first pour only supposed to last about 20 seconds. Then I have to start doing my second pour. Doesn't give me enough time with the way I wanna pour, which it has to be really gentle and soft. If not, you're gonna stir up things too much and I'm not gonna get the right timing and the best flavor. If that's, I think I said that properly. So after I'm already done 2 pours here, then I'll do my first pour on the niche for the niche 0. Okay, start the time. Gonna go up to 60. We're not gonna do any agitation whatsoever. I'm just gonna let the brewers do their work. Okay, here we go with the second one. Go to 90 and then to 120. The last pour is gonna be a longer pour because I'm gonna finish at 192. Noticing in the angle, I cannot even see the numbers. With all these tripods and stuff, it's just a little bit difficult. Okay, I'm gonna start with the next pour. $90 and then 120. Just want to be careful with the way I'm pouring, and I don't know if I was careful enough. Okay, I went over by 1 gram, 193. We'll see, this one's up to 145. This is only at 1 minute and 12. I'm gonna start with my last pour. Having the toughest time seeing the numbers. I didn't set this up very well. After all, as careful as I was. Going real slow because I can barely see the numbers. Okay, 192 and 193. Close enough. I can stop the kettle, I don't need that anymore. Okay, Pietro, 2 minutes and 45 seconds. 2 minutes and 50 seconds. Now it's dry on top. I'm gonna let it drip a little bit more. Okay, it's barely dripping now. I'm calling it 3 minutes. So 3 minutes, I hit the 3-minute mark on the Pietro. We'll see the 0, how close it comes to that, but I have a feeling it might go a little bit over, but we'll see. Maybe not. Okay, I think about the same time to become dry on top. Maybe this one went a couple seconds more. It's dry on top at 2:57, let's say. So yeah, about 7 seconds longer, something like that. But it's barely dripping, so I can probably call this one already as well. Look at this, barely coming out. So I'm gonna call this one 3 minutes and like 5 seconds. So maybe 3 minutes and 7 seconds. Okay, so 3 minutes, 3:07, roughly the same timing. But notice the difference in the beds. This is what I was telling you. It's totally different. Let me see if I can focus down here. Later, maybe I can zoom with the software. Let me see what I could do here from this angle. Again, the phone is on a tripod. I got all kinds of, maybe I should get it off the tripod. Okay, let me get another clip for you guys. Okay, before I set up my ambience again, let me show you. This is the Pietro. This is the Niche Zero. They look completely different. This is, you could see this has got like so much more fines than this one. But will that translate to taste? Well, that's what we're gonna try to find out. So you saw, we got roughly the same timing, 7 seconds more on the Niche Zero than the Pietro. So that's really close. So same water, same temperature, same brewer, same filter, same everything. Will I taste the difference? Well, let me set up the ambience back up and then we'll get to that. Okay, so back here we have the Pietro. Just want to give it a quick stir. And this is the Niche Zero. Okay, by now they've been cooling down for a couple seconds, so a couple minutes. Let's do this. Okay, so now I imagine this is as fair as you can make this, like from a regular person like me. I mean, what do you want from me? I don't have a lab. So this is as fair as you can make it. For our purposes, this should be enough. So let's get to tasting. Okay, so this is the Zero. To me, it's delicious. Here's the Pietro. Equally delicious. They're both great. If I were to let you taste this today and this tomorrow, you would not know. You would just say it's the same. This coffee is just fantastic, by the way, fantastic. Wow, yeah. Let me bring, this is really the star of the show. Forget about the grinders, any of that stuff. This coffee is just great. Okay, let me try again. I have noticed that the hotter the coffee is, you know, the least you can taste. You know, you have to kind of let it cool. But right now, it's at a great temperature. As a matter of fact, for enjoyment, it's already a little bit too cold. So for tasting, it can't get any easier or better. And it's still very difficult to tell. Is there a difference? Yeah, very small, very small. I can't imagine how this is so important to some folks. I don't know. I just can't, man, it's very small. I mean, if I'm gonna be honest, it's very small. There's like I don't know, maybe I should let it cool even further. Let me try again. Yeah, but there is a difference. It's small, but it's there. You could see a difference. And, you know, I'm going out on a limb saying that I have to admit that the Pietro, I hate to give it to the Pietro because you guys know how I love the Niche Zero. There is something here. There's something a little bit more special. Here, there's you know, it's in the background, but it's noticeable. There is like a little roastiness came out. A little tiny bitterness, but this is very small. You have to be really, you know, used to tasting coffee and doing this kind of thing, or you wouldn't probably not even see it. And like, again, if you try it on one day and then the next day the other one, you won't see that. It has to be like this side by side, and then you can tell, yeah, there's something here, because this has the little tiniest of like roastiness, of tiniest of bitterness way in the background, and maybe like a drying feeling on your palate. But yeah, all of that is very difficult to see. Yeah, it's not. There is a difference, though. I cannot say, like the other tests I've done, the difference has been so small that I just say, look, it's got to be placebo. I can't. But here there is a noticeable difference. It is noticeable. If you're used to doing this kind of thing and tasting coffee and really looking for it, it is noticeable. You will notice that. Is it meaningful? No. No, I would not spend extra money for one versus the other. I would go with the one that I like using more, the build quality and the enjoyment and the workflow and all of those kind of things I would value higher than what the difference is going to be in taste, because it's very small. And I'm comparing the two farthest apart kind of grinders that there is. So I don't know. Maybe, obviously, I don't have like the best palate in the world. I know that. There are some people where the difference might be even more meaningful than to me. If I had the choice of picking one grinder or the other, now I do. I have them both. So for filter coffee, a lot of times I would go to the Pietro. Now what's gonna happen when I compare Pietro to the Duo? Maybe the difference is gone. I know some people have pointed out, oh, but James Hoffman said that the Duo particle distribution is the same like the Zero. That's not the case. That's not what happened on that video. He said the Duo with the espresso burrs is the same distribution as the Zero. Not period, okay? And I have both sets of burrs. I have the Brew burrs. The Brew burrs is different than the espresso burrs, and there is a difference in the particle distribution between the Brew burrs here and the Zero, okay? So just to be clear, I have noticed a little bit of a difference. This is, again, very small like this. Like, does it matter? No, probably not. An average person shouldn't spend more money for one versus the other. Just get the one you really like, the one that makes you feel good, that you like to see on your counter, the build quality, you know, the workflow, all of those things mean more than this flavor difference. It's very small. But is it there? Yes. Yes, it is noticeable. And if I had to choose, hey, you want to drink this one or this one, I would pick this one. but a very slight margin, okay? Let me see again. The more you wait, the more you see it. But it's still small. It's small. I mean, pretty soon I'll get to room temperature and I'll see it maybe a little bit more, but it's still gonna be small no matter what, because it's a small difference. But yeah, this is a little bit more tea-like, a little bit more delicate. Now, as far as flavor separations, I'm not tasting both coffees' flavor profile is the same to me. I'm not tasting anymore. What are we tasting? Apple, kiwi, blood orange, toffee, and rhubarb. Okay, every time I read that, I'm like, what are they talking about, the rhubarb? This is like a bitter type of vegetable. There is no bitterness here whatsoever. Once you dial these coffees in, I don't think you should be getting any bitterness. I haven't gotten any bitterness from this coffee. I don't know, not something that I would actually point it out on the tasting notes. I mean, no way. I always said from this one, maybe apple, but it would have to be like the sweeter apples. It's a very sweet, fruity coffee. So, you know, and then toffee is what I was on board with, especially with espresso. Toffee, I did get like a caramel flavor from this coffee. It's fruity and caramel. And if I had to pick some type of fruits, I would have put like tropical fruits, not apple. But if you're talking about the sweeter apples, maybe so. Definitely not like Granny Smith. This is no like, the bitterness or a very acidic type of profile. Is nothing like that. So in kiwi, I would have never guessed kiwi. So, all right, one more time. You know what? Let's freshen them up. Okay, let's freshen them up. See what happens. If anything, probably nothing. That also stirs things up a little bit in there. All right, cheers. One last try. Yeah, very delicate. This one, you do see that, like the tea quality and delicate aspect of the coffee shines over here. Over here, it's very nice too. You would have to do a side by side, you know. But way in the back, you do see what I'm saying. There's a tiny little bit of roastiness, bitterness, and perhaps like a little drying feeling on the palate. That's it. But in the background, even side by side, they taste like the same coffee, okay? Because it is. Okay, flavor separation and all of that, man, I still don't see that. Maybe, you know, my mind will change. Maybe in 2 years, my palate develops to the point where maybe I could see something like that. But I've been doing this for like 7 years now or something. Like, you know, I don't know, man. I don't know what to say. I don't know. Now, the other thing I'm telling you is definitely it is apparent, which is a little bit of, like I keep saying, you know, a little bit of that roastiness, perhaps little tiny bitterness, perhaps, and the little bit sensation of a little bit drying feeling, astringent feeling in the way in the background. Here's a little bit more delicate, a little bit more tea-like. And if they told me, hey, which one you want to drink the whole cup of, I would pick this one, because by the slightest of margin, and this is not even apples to apples. This is two grinders that are vastly different. So it's a huge difference. And it's still in the cup, I don't know. I don't know. If I were to brew 10 cups of this one and 10 cups of this one, just like as we did, and as a matter of fact, I would dial this in further. Maybe I want to get this one just a little bit faster. And then what would happen? Maybe that little bit of roastiness, bitterness, maybe I can make it go away. And then it's really like, but at the same timing, this is what's going to happen. And this is why I wanted to compare it like this. Perhaps what I need to do is dial it to taste. You know, the next grinder comparison, let's do the Duo and the Pietro. That's a lot more apples to apples. And I will dial to taste. Okay, now I know what, and this is perfection right here. This I could try to get rid of. Maybe it never gets rid of it. Maybe because of the amount of fines. And you could see it. It's definitely the amount of fines is there. You could see it after you finish brewing. You could tell which one was which one. You know, I could point it out every single time. You can brew it 20 times. I'll be able to tell, yeah, that's the Zero and that's the Pietro. Okay, because you could clearly see it. But on the taste, I doubt it. I can brew 10 of these and 10 of these and point them all out to where this is the Pietro, this is the and this is the Zero, Pietro Zero, and get it right every single time. I don't think so. I don't think I could do that. I'm sure there's people out there, you know, a different level, experts in the field, and people that with expert taste buds that can probably do that, because there's enough of a difference here that I could see somebody being able to do that. Okay, but that someone, I don't think it's me. I don't think I could get it right every single time. It's pretty apparent like this, but I know what's what. And if you start mixing them around and you wait a little while and stuff, I don't know. I think I might mess it up a couple times. I think I'll get it right most often than not, because there's enough of a difference. It's not like some of the other grinder comparisons I've done where it's like, this is like, come on, it's just not, there's no difference here. Here there is a difference. You could see it and you can taste it. It's small. So don't spend extra money on it. I don't think you need it. Enough said. But now, there is a difference in bursts, guys. Maybe it's more meaningful to certain folks than to me. I wouldn't spend any money on that, but I already did. So now, from now on, we can every now and then brew on the Pietro. It's fun to have the different grinders and all that stuff. And then, you know, you get maybe a guest in your house and you bring out your hand grinder, you explain the differences and stuff. And if they're into coffee, you know, it's a, you know, conversation piece and things like that. But is it worth it for them? No, no, I don't think so. Okay, let me enjoy the rest of this, because both cups are very enjoyable. I will enjoy both of these, whatever's left here. And I'll see you guys back in a second, although this video is like super long, but I said I was gonna do espresso, and I will. I actually wanna drink my cortado, and I had not had any coffee today. I was like dragging in the beginning of the video, and now it's already kicking in. I feel a lot better. And after the cortado, I'll be ready to hit the gym in a little while. So let me finish this, and I'll see you guys for the espresso. One more clip, because I'm finishing up. This is the last of it. And you know, now it's almost room temperature. Okay, still somewhat warm. It's not room temperature, it's still somewhat warm, but but wow, you know, I just took a sip of this one, the Pietro, and I'm starting to kind of like, and I know it's placebo, okay? I'm not giving myself credit for kind of finding that in the cup, but I could see where they say apple, but definitely, again, red apple, okay? Not Granny Smith, not something with, you know, a lot of acidity or bitterness up front. No, this is like a red apple, like a sweeter apple, but I got a little bit of it, which I'm not getting from the zero. Again, the zero is the same thing I've been saying. You know, it's fruity, it's nice, acidity up front, then it goes into like nice sweetness. And if you wait and search enough, in the background you could taste a little bit of roastiness, a little bit of bitterness, and a little bit of stringiness or stringent kind of quality to it that I'm not getting from this one. But it's not very noticeable, okay? It's not very noticeable. But when you put everything together, you know, like I said, yeah, there is a noticeable difference. You can taste a difference in these two grinders, but it is small. But now the reason why I'm grabbing this clip is because, again, the little bit of, I did get like an apple flavor. Only now I was able to, and again, I know to expect it because I read it, but that same quality I'm not getting in this one. Yeah, no, it's kind of like hidden by all the other things. So maybe that's what they mean by the flavor separation, but wow, that's even more difficult to see. I mean, that's even harder to find. And only now that the coffee, so who the heck is gonna drink the coffee cold? Like, well, if you're making iced coffee, maybe, but the way you normally drink coffee, you would not let it cool down to this temperature. This is already beyond what you would normally do. But because I'm setting up and doing things and still finishing it up, by now it's almost room temperature. And now is when I'm finally being able to detect, and I never drank it this cold. So I had never gotten to the point where I kind of saw this apple. I had never, with the coffee hot, the difference here is way less. And this apple thing, you wouldn't even get it. So the coffee has to be practically room temperature. Yeah, maybe like a red apple. Still the kiwi, no, I don't, blood orange. I don't know, I've had coffees with blood orange before where I've gotten like a citrus kind of flavors, and I kind of have seen that, but this one, no, I would never go with anything citrus with this coffee. It's just all fruit, all fruity. The toffee, perhaps for the sweetness, I definitely got that from the espresso. The caramel kind of flavor in the espresso was apparent. And again, this, I never have gotten on board with this. There's no bitterness here. Even in this one, no, not enough that you would point it out. You really have to search for that. Yeah, right now, it's even a little bit more of a difference, but it's still small, it's still slight. And I wanted to grab this last extra clip for this because again, I am starting to get a little bit of that apple. And again, I'm not giving myself credit for that. I would have probably never pointed that out, but since I know to expect it and I'm looking for it, I'm finding it here and not here. So that's interesting. So yeah, I mean, we'll see when I compare the Duo versus the Pietro. It'll be a different coffee because I've gone through all of this. I'm glad I had it all filtered like this. I enjoyed this coffee. It's just a superstar coffee, I do have to say. It's wonderful. All right, let me set up for the espresso. All right, and now it's cortado time. I'm gonna once again brew the coffee that my buddy Ed gave me that he brought back from the Dominican Republic. And it's, it's a dark roast. And taste profile is fine. It's perfectly well suited for milk drinks. So that's what we're gonna run with today. From what I recall, the grind size for this coffee should be 12.5, so 12 and a half on the niche 0. That should be focused there. We're gonna go with 18 grams. Notice that my espresso machine, I lowered the temperature to 82. I did that like when I first started recording. And yeah, it's been sitting there at 82 because a dark roast like this, you kind of want to, or at least me, I like to brew it a lot cooler temperature and just go straight up to, on this coffee, I think I'm just gonna go to 8 bars and it should pull for like 30 seconds and the flavor should be just fine. So, and again, today's gonna be a cortado, so. All right, let's dose out the 12 grams. I'm sorry, I know I said 12, but I meant 18. Okay, 18 grams. Let's go to the 0. Let me show you once again the roast profile. Okay, there you see it. It's definitely dark, a little bit oily, but not too much, not too bad. Grind size 12.5 or 12 and a half. I want the scale to time out. This one takes kind of long to grind every time. The beans don't want to drop. Okay, there we go. We might have a little bit of retention because, again, now we're on a darker roast. Let's see. But we could easily have a 0.3, maybe even 0.4. 0.3. Okay, so I'm gonna roll with that. 0.2, 0.3, I usually don't care. All right, relock the focus. So I kind of had a feeling because again, you go to a darker roast like this and it's a lot stickier. I remember talking about that with Jay one time. Let's flow fed up. I haven't pulled any shots, so this is nice and dry. Okay, perfect. Let me bring you closer for the dough UDT. I usually bring the phone in a little bit closer. Okay, that should work better. Okay, little dough UDT. Tap that into place. Okay, we're gonna use pasado today. Pasado! Oh man. Wow, that went way in there, and of course it's way crooked. I never get it right with this tamper. I can always adjust it a little bit. Hopefully that's good enough. But man. The other day I tampered it and I did a way better job. I don't remember if it was a Friday video. It could have been a Friday video. Inspecting. Okay, once I leveled it off, this is looking, this is looking about right. Let's drop the puck screen. Yeah, this is It's pretty well tamped now. It's nice and level. Let's lock in and pull a shot, and then hopefully we get a good shot and we turn it into a cortado. Let's run this thing because it has been on for quite a while. Oh, another thing, after the adjustment of the pump, let me show you. But you see there that definitely it's just below the 9 bar, just below the 9 bar. As soon as you give it some resistance, it will hit 9 bar. With no resistance, it's usually just below the 9 bars. And obviously with no resistance, this will be 0. There's no resistance. Look. So the pump is giving you, right, 9 or just a little bit less than 9. This has 0 because there is no resistance. Okay? Now when I wonder if today I should set it up so you could see what kind of, from the angle that I normally give you, you can't see this. All you could see is the time. Today I'm going to try to figure it out so that you could see the pump pressure. As a matter of fact, I want to see myself. I want to make sure I'm hitting the 9 bars exactly. I made that adjustment already a while back. I recorded a video as to how to adjust your Bianca so it's exactly at 9 bars. If you want to see that video and you haven't seen it, comment below. I'll give you the link to it. But it's easy to make the adjustment, and I needed to make the adjustment for a video that I shot where I wasn't going to use flow control. I always use flow control. So I love using flow control, but for that particular experiment, I was not gonna use flow control, and that's the reason why I had to adjust the pump. But I've had this machine already for like 3 years, and I never adjusted it until just now because, again, I wanted to do that one experiment. So let's lock in. Today I'm gonna try to give you an angle, something like this or something maybe, so that you could see both sides. The thing is, I don't have a lot of room here because the counter ends. So, all right, let me try to figure this out. Okay, so I'm hoping from this angle you will be able to see the pump pressure, and I mean, even for my own good, I wanna see, keep an eye on that, because there is a chance that adjustment, I might have to tweak it through time, because I didn't have like a little wrench to tighten the nut that's behind the kind of adjusting screw that you have to turn, and I have a feeling there's a chance that through time I might have to tweak the adjustment. If you see the video, you'll see what I mean. But okay, so here we go. It's on the automatic espresso function, so that should tear by itself, and it will time my shot and all of that. But okay, so we are shooting for, again, like an 8-bar shot in about 30 seconds. Let's see if we could do it. Okay, pressure took really long to come in for some reason. Okay, there it is at 8 bars. I usually do 18 in to 45 grams out. Puck integrity is holding very, very well. I went over by 1 gram. 46 grams, 27 seconds from first drip, 37 seconds overall. I'm right exactly in the range that I wanted. So, yeah. I don't know how I'm gonna be able to maybe show you the pump pressure. The pump pressure while that was going. Maybe if I didn't get that, I don't know. If I don't get it today, we'll figure it out for next time. Let me stop one of the cameras. As far as channeling, I don't see any signs of it. It looks like we got a nice clean pool in the perfect timing. Now, this coffee's dialed in, so there's no surprise there. But I hadn't used it in quite a few days, and sometimes you do have to tweak it. In my experience, you have to go finer and finer as time goes. I recently heard Lance Hedrick mention that on a video where he said that the reason for that happening is because the coffee starts to lose CO2, which adds or loses, so it loses resistance because it's losing the CO2. You know, I don't know, that's what he said. I don't know if that makes perfect sense to me, but I guess maybe. But at least it's not just me, right? So it usually does, you do have to grind finer. So let's give it a quick taste. Yeah, well balanced. You know, dark chocolate, caramel, you know, the usual suspects for a dark roast like this and the way I pulled the shot, but well balanced and perfectly suited for a milk drink. So let me set things up and we're gonna make a cortado. All right, I'm almost embarrassed to show my latte art today. I did not do a good job once again. But, you know, you can kind of see I try to push twice so I could get the heart in a heart. Let me see if I can focus. It's kind of focusing. You can't, there's not enough contrast. You could see it with like a plain sight, but there is like a little heart inside the other heart, and the idea's there. I did a horrible job. Okay, it looks like a nice amount of foam. That looks just about right. Okay, let me get this out of the way. Pour the filter. Hold on a second. Okay, I think this angle is gonna work fairly well. Let's give it a taste. And yeah, it's perfect. I mean, why wouldn't it be? So, you know, it was a perfectly well executed shot. It tasted great, and mix it with a little bit of milk. It just goes to the next level. It's even better. Yeah, this is perfect. Delicious cortado. I couldn't wait to have that. I hadn't had any coffee for the whole day, so this will set me up here for the rest of the day. I'm gonna let you guys go here. I gotta get to the gym, and yeah, so thank you for watching. I know this is gonna end up being a long video, probably more than an hour, and I have quite a bunch of clips to edit and yeah, this is gonna be a tough one to edit. You know, next Sunday, I'm not sure what we're gonna get into. I think next Sunday, I start with Kent's Coffee. Yeah, next Sunday it'll probably be Kent's Coffee, but by now you have seen Kent's Coffee on Fridays, because the Fridays coffee videos are running ahead of the Sunday videos. Pretty soon that'll all kind of catch up, because I am recording more Friday videos than Sunday videos. Since those are unedited, they're so much easier. But I think next Sunday, we should still be working on Kent's Coffees. As of me recording this, I haven't even opened the box. But I do plan this weekend to perhaps shoot another video where I open the box. I'm gonna give you that video as a Friday video. So therefore, you should have seen Kent's Coffee by now. This is very confusing. Anyway, if you guys have been watching all the videos, you know what it is I'm talking about. Shout out goes out to Kent. Thank you, buddy. So yeah, we're gonna start with that. And next Sunday's video will be either unedited or very little editing. I plan on doing something, and maybe the next 2 videos, because like this video is gonna take me like really long to all the editing that's gonna go into this one. So yeah, thank you for watching. I really appreciate my coffee family here on YouTube. I was finally able to taste a difference in grinders. It's not huge, it's not big. It's a meaningful, maybe it's more meaningful to some folks than to me. I wouldn't pay for that difference in taste. As a matter of fact, like I said, I think I could try to get rid of that little bit of that, what I would call negative aspect in the cup that was coming from the niche by tweaking either my water temperature or timing a little bit further and maybe better the cup still. I think that's possible, but there is a difference. There is a difference, and you could clearly see it on the grounds. After you finish brewing, it's very apparent, or even before you start brewing, you could see the difference in the grounds. And then on the taste, it's there too. It translates to taste. There is a difference. Again, it's small. It's small. Maybe it's more meaningful to some other folks. To me, I wouldn't pay for that. But now that I have it, we will revisit the Pietro many times. As a matter of fact, eventually I'll try both of my hand grinders, Pietro versus K+. But the next comparison is gonna be Pietro versus Niche Duo. That's not gonna be for the next couple Sundays, because I have to do something quicker unless I can figure that out to where there's gonna be a lot less editing. So yeah, thank you for watching. One more last taste. Now that it cooled down a little bit more, it's even better. So I'm gonna enjoy the rest of that. Please remember to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and I'll see you. This will be a Sunday video, so I'll see you guys on Friday.